Well, this is gonna be,
Well, I would at least read Kyle's opinion for the
Yeah,
public,
read-
because
read
that wasn't
part of
able to
that.
be included in the packet, because I didn't
the
get
next
it
thing
till
that's
today.
on the agenda as far as new business, we're gonna, yeah, some of that we might, we have to table. Let me read, Kyle, he found an ordinance, there's an ordinance that covers the cost of water meters. And it reads, you think I need to read?
I do.
Okay. Okay, it's an ordinance number 243, and it's amending the Fromberg Municipal Code to update the cost of a meter as defined in section 4-5-12. It states to be it ordained by the town council of the town of Fromberg, Montana, that the section defining the update of the cost of meters as follows. 4-5-12, cost of meter. Installation of all water meters shall be at the user's expense. Meters in excess of the 3/4 of an inch intake size shall be furnished by the user. Smaller meters shall be furnished by the town. In an event, if the town furnishes the meter for the user and the user has not paid for it in full within 90 days of the time that the meter was installed, there shall be a 1.5 interest charge per month, which is an annual percentage rate of 18%. The finance charge is calculated by applying a 1.5% to the adjusted balance. To avoid any finance charge, the meter shall be paid in full within 90 days. This ordinance is dated the 3rd day of June and is effective the first day of February.
January and February.
19, yeah, dated 7th day of February 1994. So it's kind of confusing if you read that, who is going to pay for the meter? One way you read it, the town pays for it. Another way you read it, the user has to pay for it. So we asked the attorney to look into it. So our attorneys put it in, and what they said is, I was asked to provide an opinion on ordinance 243 at the onset. I have reproduced the text of the ordinance below, which I just read. My understanding is that there is a question of whether the town or the user pays for the installation of water meters. I believe the confusion stems from the fact that at one point the ordinance refers to the user being responsible for installation fees, and the next explains who is responsible for providing the meter. It is my considered opinion that it is the user's obligation to pay for the installation of the water meter, but that the actual meter being installed is to be provided by the town or the user.
By either.
By either the town or the user, depending on the size of the meter being installed. In other words, if installation of the meter costs $100, now this is just, he just threw out some numbers, and the user wishes to install a meter with an intake smaller than 3/4 of an inch, and that meter costs $25, the user will be responsible for the $100, and the town will be responsible for the $25. On the other hand, if the user wishes to install a meter with an intake of 1 inch and that meter costs $35, the user will ultimately owe the town $135, paying for both the installation and supply of the meter. Please let me know if you have any additional questions or concerns. And he also put down here is, please note that I have no idea how much it costs to buy and install a meter. These numbers are for illustrative purposes.
Okay, so then if someone has to have a new meter, do we have to go off of the size of it? On who
Yes.
pays for the replacement meter?
Yes.
Is that what we're
If
saying?
they want a different meter than the standard meters in town,
Okay.
which is
Well,
3/4.
not only standard, but it states the exact size of the meter to be installed.
Yeah. Most of the meters in this town are 3/4 of an inch. Now, if you want a smaller one, or if you want a bigger one, you know, a lot of your residential buildings may have a bigger water line. And that's up to them to provide that cost. Now, Lacey, did you get the cost of what it costs for a meter and?
He didn't give me the cost of the actual meters yet, but the meter pits are somewhere around $655, and the curb stands are $88.36, and the lids for the meter pits are $184.54.
Okay.
But he didn't give me the actual meter price.
And what was it, the cost that we had discussed earlier about meters?
Mine was 160 is
And
what
I
I
think somebody
paid.
threw a number of like 250 or 280 out.
Well, I had thought it was more expensive, but I think the reason I thought that is because I paid a water bill at the time.
Okay,
Kristen looked it up the last meeting and mine was 160.
and that was when? 10 years ago?
10 years ago, yeah.
So I would imagine they're two-ish.
230,
I would
240,
guess.
somewhere in that range right now. So we look at $240 of cost of a meter. So the town will pay for the meters, and the person that needs a meter has to pay for the cost of installing that meter,
Right.
which we should have that in a list of fees,
Is it
but
Household tapping fee, I'm
Well,
guessing that's just a,
That's just to tap the line.
Okay, so the next thing we have to address is if the town wants to have instant read meters throughout the town, so that these guys can take half the time, or a third of the time, or a tenth of the time to do the readings and be more efficient,
yeah,
how are we gonna feel about
so that's,
requiring people to have an additional cost? It could take us literally 20 years to get everything switched over if we wait for one at a time to die.
yes, and that's kinda, and I don't know, we're replacing meters now because of those originally that were put in, the batteries are going dead. So they quit working, so then we have to replace the meter, and then we send it in, and they put new batteries in and send it back.
These are instant reads you're talking about?
Yes, the instant
Okay.
reads.
I'm talking about the manuals. There's, half the town has manual and half the town has instant read.
How long does it take to read the meters in this town?
Well, if there's two of us, we can get it done in like 3-4 hours. But if it's just one, it's gonna take all day. Cause you have to climb through bushes and, and then when there's snow, like it shouldn't have took us as long as it did this last time.
You have to
But you
dig them
couldn't
out.
find any of
You
them,
had to
yeah,
dig
and
them
we
out.
had put flags on the ones that we thought
So
were
now it
difficult to
could take
find, and
3
people
days.
took them out, yeah. But we did get it done. So if we didn't wanna do the radio reads, maybe if there was a way to get a second handheld, and then one person take that half of the town and the other one take the other
They
half.
used to have a handheld.
We do have one,
We have one.
Okay,
but,
good.
so,
We also made, at some point in the past, before I was on the council, we had mandated that people that had meters that weren't accessible, they had to spend money getting a little black button
Right.
oh yeah.
situated on the side of their house, or,
And
you
that's what
know.
we're using with the manual ones, is those black buttons.
Right, but you're saying some of those are under snow.
Oh, yeah.
they shouldn't
Oh, I see
be.
what you're saying, yeah,
They
they're on the
shouldn't be.
lids.
Yeah, but last year we went through this, and I did, and Jeremy, this is what we discussed. Joliet does, when it's a snow day and you cannot read those meters, you do an estimated read
Oh.
for that month.
But-
You
but
don't
that just
kill
causes
your
trouble.
car.
Yeah,
That causes all kinds of grief
But-
on
We
her.
have, Yes, we had all kinds of grief when we estimated water bills
But I
last.
mean, just for like 1 month, and you put on a note,
I know.
because of the snow,
Tammy, I don't think we should do it in 1 month.
Yeah,
I
Well-
think it's, what we wanna avoid is anything that causes any type of, confusion or ill will to the city people of Fromberg and the city of Fromberg. And if we eliminate the estimate, that's one more thing that we don't have to deal with.
Well, I had asked him that this last time, what happens if you estimate one, and then next month when the reading actually you can do it, it's lower than what you estimated it.
Yeah.
I don't wanna,
Or
Then you just
twice as
lower
much.
your-
What
well, I
if
guess
it's
you
twice
can,
as
yeah,
much?
I can go in and change
Yeah.
it, but, you
but
know.
the ill will come when you tell
But you have
somebody
to
you're
credit them
purchasing a
back.
new water
Yeah, they were
meter too.
charged. It would end up
And we haven't
crediting
made that
them.
decision,
I
but I wanna make a decision that everybody makes those little black reader boxes accessible
That
even
makes
in
sense.
snow.
But
I didn't attach my little black reader box. When they attached it down at the bottom of mine.
Right.
South side, the field, the wind blows, snow
Yeah.
piles up.
And nobody attached the boxes themselves. They were attached by the town.
Were they?
Yeah,
That's why the one
Well, mine
Is
was
up
in
by
my
the
basement.
top
I
of the
had to
window.
run telephone cord up and attach one
no,
to the side of my
the
house.
town itself attached those boxes.
Mhm.
They put mine up on the side of the house,
Yeah,
but others, they just ran to the outside depending on access.
yeah, some of them are on the meter pit lids too.
they are, right on the top of them. So if it snows, they're
Yeah, and
done.
if they don't read, then you have to take it all apart and pull everything out to get to the actual meter.
Bad idea.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
But to get that, if it's in the middle of the yard,
Yeah.
See, some of the meter pits, the meters are outside of the house,
yeah,
and some like mine are in the middle of the house.
mine's underneath the house.
Yeah.
I like where yours is, because it's covered, so it's not like, there's nothing
Okay.
to do.
Okay, so,
So the consensus is we're not gonna mandate, the new meters, is that right? The instant read. That's not something that this council is really gung ho about.
okay.
The only way we could do that is a limited number at a time, because we can't afford to replace them all at one time.
Okay?
That's true.
I'm fine with doing the deal, like if yours tanks, it takes the crap that's,
You pay for the install,
we're moving up,
we
we're,
pay the,
Yeah, and
the
I
price.
So we buy the meter, they pay an install fee, and they get the new updated meter. And we wait for them to
Otherwise,
break,
no.
we'd be.
or
fine
whatever
with
till they
50
have to be
grand, 40
replaced.
grand out of pocket.
Well,
Yes.
what happens if somebody wants to install it themselves? And
They
if
can't.
you have a meter read, the automatic read, and it goes out and has to be replaced, does that mean that the people in the house have to do the installation of that again too? So every time it goes out, no matter what happens, the person in the house has to pay the redo deal.
I would think.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the
But
problem.
it's, these things are something that only our water personnel would be able to do.
I've installed both my meters.
You installed both yours.
I installed both mine because, believe me, they do not want to install where mine is at.
They don't. The crawl space is this big. And she had to get skinny again, so she might go down again.
Mike was really happy to have me install my own.
Oh, that's
Well, yeah. However, I do know that when they install a meter, they have to get the numbers off of it, and then they have to transfer these numbers so that as the radio reads, because it comes up a certain number with amount of water, whatever that you're using, that's what's registered on that. And then it comes up to a certain address and name. So if we just can't hand out meters to somebody and say, here's your meter, go put it on. That needs to be done by our people that have been trained on. And if you were willing to crawl underneath there and do that, with Mike there, then,
He
that
wasn't
was up to
there.
Mike.
He wasn't there, and
Yeah, I
believe
would
me,
say
he
that's
don't
a
want.
rare circumstance, though.
Yeah, that would be special circumstances. I'd be leery of doing that. So, but I would think that as the meter goes bad, we'll replace them with radio reads. And we do have some in the shop,
Yeah,
yes, we do have replacements.
And we're gonna have updated costs of services as well for, and we'll post those.
So for my reference, this water meter doesn't need to go on the next agenda, we're done discussing it?
Yeah, we're done discussing it, we have an
Just making
ordinance,
sure.
unless we change the ordinance at some point.
Yeah.
It's black and white.
Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure I.
Any other comments on that?
Yeah, I still think that whoever had to pay for them before ought to get reimbursed. I mean, that's just fair.
Okay? All right.
Okay, I don't know how that
I mean, you had the ordinance and you were billing when you shouldn't have been billing, is basically what that's saying.
That ordinance was from '94.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you had the ordinance in place, and if the attorney interprets it that you shouldn't have been billed for your meter, you were billing when you shouldn't have been billing for them.
So what would you guys say that if they can prove, like your water meter, you paid for it? That would credit your account over the course of 3 months to pay you back what you paid for that meter?
That's fine with me.
I mean, is that something that would be
I don't have a
agreeable?
problem with that.
No?
It's gonna be proved though.
Yeah,
I
it's gotta be
think that the
proved.
clerk person should go through all the records, find them,
No, I
and
don't,
notify it.
I don't
I
agree.
know.
Or
I don't agree.
else you should have a posting on the door and everything else.
Yeah,
So
I
that
think
people
that-
know that they can be reimbursed.
Right?
I mean, this has to, they can't be sneaky behind the
Well,
back.
we don't want it sneaky behind the
This is
back.
being-
We wanna be out in the open, so.
This is being videoed.
And I'm adding it to the minutes if they read them too.
So,
Well, there's a lot of people
Yeah,
that
that's
don't
been
follow
good
the
that you've been doing
videos
that.
and they wouldn't know.
hey, it's good.
It's in the minutes as well.
Okay, so we'll post it on the door.
So paid for their meter
Proof of payment.
after that ordinance date?
94,
Yes, it's
yeah.
To the date
Okay.
of the 94, yeah.
By the way, could you look mine up sometime? Cause, we do have radio read,
Make a note of that.
yeah.
You need
As
to-
long as the house hasn't been sold in the interim.
As long as it wasn't put in before you bought the house.
Yeah.
Right.
No, Jay said he installed the radio read, I mean, it was installed. I think, Mike did it. Cause, they put in something.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay. Okay. Table of fees. Let's look at this table of fees that we have here.
Table after we
Table of
have time to read
fees.
it.
Yeah, it's getting late, gentlemen. Is this
Yeah,
something
I
that we can?
apologize for it not being in the packet, I couldn't locate it. But I didn't wanna delay the posting of the
Let's-
agenda.
I make a motion to table the table of fees.
You skipped ordinance 525 though, that's your next item
Oh,
on
is it?
this.
It is? Ah, yes, you're right, I'm sorry. Ordinance 525 to amend the regular meeting date. We need to table that also.
Yeah, do you want me to explain why?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Especially since it was my mistake. So, Attorney Moen drafted this ordinance to change your meeting date, and I just followed standard procedure, and we were gonna do first reading tonight, post it for 30 days, second reading in April, effective 30 days after that. I came across ordinance number 502 that was put in place that said all ordinances need to be posted in the 3 posting places around town 14 days prior to first reading. I was unaware that it's not standard procedure, so I did not post it. So I don't think that we should pass it tonight, I think it should be tabled. I'll post it in 2 weeks, it'll be posted 14 days, then we'll move on.
Okay.
Okay,
So that's why we're not gonna do it.
Okay.
and then
So-
I make a motion to table
Thank you, I was just gonna ask for that.
the 525.
Thank you.
I'll second the table and, oh, sorry.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to table ordinance 525 until the next meeting. All in favor?
Aye. I also make a motion to table the table of fees until the next meeting.
I'll second that.
That gives us a chance to take a closer look at these fees.
Okay, so we have a
And
motion.
also, I would ask that you and Jay get really on top of this and get us some hard numbers.
Okay.
if you would, please.
Put that on the list.
Like, so, like, I guess where that would be is just like materials for like a new tap, all that stuff, just for,
Yeah,
I think that'll help out a lot if we got modern numbers rather than where we're at.
Yeah, something for
and you might help them devote some time to really
tie into it.
devote that.
Yeah. Okay,
And do some calls and do some checking.
yeah, okay. Yep, that we can.
So do we second and,
So we need a, I made a motion, but we need a second on the update of the table. The table.
Oh, I'll
Oh,
say,
I thought Bill seconded already.
Did you
Okay.
second that?
That's what I wrote down.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to table the table of fees. All in favor?
aye,
aye,
Okay, pass. Nothing on zoning, correspondence, town attorney,
Present.
public works director.
Okay. Well, I've been splitting my time between there and here. So I don't know, I wasn't there for all of these things, but he gave me a list of what he's been doing while I'm not there. And it was pretty slow there when there was no snow. So he fixed a bunch of stuff on the skid steer, cause it doesn't work that well, really. And then valve cover gaskets and PC valves, oh, he fixed those on the pickup. So it's not leaking and using oil anymore, or burning oil. And I've been doing water classes. We have to have certifications, and we have a certain amount of time to get those. So he's doing the sewer wastewater first, and I'm doing the water first, and then we'll switch after we're certified for each of those things. But so I've been doing a lot of hours of water classes. Some of it. But, so that's taken quite a bit of time, but, and then we changed these light covers out in here, that was fun.
Yeah, that's when
It
we
looked good.
figured out the
Figured out the
electrical
light,
was
yeah.
not very good in this.
At Jay's expense. Anyway.
so is it ultimately, hugely advantageous to have both of you guys certified in both aspects?
Yeah, because it's kind of a legal thing. So then we're responsible, both of us, once we're certified, for the public safety, basically, in those areas, for wastewater and water. So that is what legally binds us, basically.
Have we ever had two people in the town of Fromberg both certified?
That's what she was explaining to me anyway, and her name was Bobby from Montana Rural.
You are required to have an operator and a backup operator. I believe in the past,
What if you
Bridger
only
has
had-
been your backup operator.
What if we only had one employee?
Right, then
Oh.
that's
Yeah.
what happened. You had Mike Fentling, and I believe that Tim Goldsberry was his backup operator.
And he
Because-
wasn't an employee of the town?
No, he's the town of Bridger Public Works Director at that time.
Yeah.
So he was the backup for Mike.
For
And
Fromberg.
when Tim didn't have an assistant, Mike was the backup for Bridger. So they swapped, they were each other's backup for the towns.
Right,
But Bridger has since moved on to having two certified.
Well, there's,
and
and
they have
there's
two
also,
full-time?
like the case, if he was to get sick or get injured or anything like that, I wouldn't be certified then to be taking the tests or overseeing any of that
Yeah,
Yeah,
at the time, but.
okay,
I think it's a good idea to have,
okay.
and it's rather tough course. A lot of math and stuff involved in it.
And that, another part of that, we will both have to be in Roberts on March 17th for, let's see, it's 1 PM to 5:15 for operator math. So, we'll both be gone that afternoon, I guess.
That's next week?
The 17th?
No, the week
Oh, yeah, I changed it.
Oh, yeah.
In 2 weeks.
Yeah, and they have there's a whole schedule of how that's gonna go, and what we're gonna learn, and then we'll be quizzed at the end, like a pre-test thing. And then the snow came, so there was plowing, trying to keep up with that, and the drifts, a lot of stuff went wrong at the lagoon and the pump house electrically. So we had to have Taylor Electric come out here and look through everything and figure out where all the problems were. Finally got that taken care of, I think it was last Monday. So that,
And I think that was the bill on your claims.
yeah, I think so.
What did it end up being?
He said there was a bad GFI at the lagoon, and the heater at the pump house. I don't know what that
He
is.
wrote it on the bill too, if you want me to read it. I remember looking at it.
Yeah, the heater at the pump house is not,
Yeah, it's not putting out enough heat, I guess.
yeah, it's,
And the cost is $1,000 max to replace it. And then,
Would that be with a larger
I think so,
capacity
so that, yeah.
heater?
yeah, it's a little better heater and one that works. Because when it got really cold, they had milk-borne heaters and everything else down there just to keep the water going so it wasn't freezing. And it would have been disastrous if that stuff would have froze up.
I'm surprised that that was spec'd out at the bare minimum when
Well-
they put it in.
I think what has happened is the heater is going bad,
Degraded.
yeah. And it's not able to put out as much heat as
It did when it was new.
when it was new, yes.
We're all going through that.
So. You're right.
He said 820 on here as a verbal price.
Oh,
Okay, and I think it's something that we're gonna have to have, especially before next winter, or if we hit another cold snap like that.
Well, it scares me.
It does.
That it's
That-
just barely
Yeah,
making the grade.
yeah, because
Oh, if that freezes?
yeah, if that
That's a bad
freezes,
thing.
Oh.
we don't have any water in the tank, we don't have no fire protection, we don't have
Did
nothing.
you
Well,
want
we
that,
should
Dave?
put some money in the coffers then to replace that.
Well, I think it needs to be replaced,
I think we need to have it on there.
and we'll just have
Yeah.
to, we'll just do it,
Yeah.
okay?
That's the problem with Texas right now, is that they didn't have any foresight for the worst possible scenario.
Well, here's the bill for that, electrical problem.
He's got all of his notes on that bill of what he did.
No, that's not bad.
No, that's not bad for Sparky.
And then every month, it happens at least once a month, the chlorine injector quill gets plugged or fails and we have to replace it. So, had to deal with that again, but we tried, he was talking to, I don't remember the guy's name, about trying to find something that would clean it better so we don't have to buy new ones so often. But so far, there's not really a lot of options, and they are kind of expensive, but Jay takes pretty good care of them and he keeps a really good eye on them. So he tries to get them cleaned and taken apart before it gets so bad that you can't. But
So there is the ability to break them down and.
yeah, just if you do it soon enough. And when we do the chlorine test to see how much is in the water, it'll turn pink if it's fine, and if the quill isn't working, then it won't be pink. So that's or it'll start getting clearer and clearer. So that's kind of a good indication on the inside of the quill. But and then what we're planning on doing this month, as long as it doesn't snow some more, but he's still trying to get the parking curbs here.
Okay.
He's got them lined up and everything, he hasn't been able to get them here without having, or he needs a way to get them off the truck if he's gonna do it on the truck, or he needs to find a trailer that's available. And burning ditches still and finishing the baseball field so that hopefully that doesn't flood again.
Okay,
That was terrible. But, and cleaning out, he started cleaning out this ditch on this side, but there's still a lot of debris and stuff inside of there that we're gonna have to get out, cause it's just gonna clog all back in. We want that done before irrigating starts. And then tree trimming, there's a bunch of trees we still wanna trim. That's easiest with the dump truck, but, cause it takes not as much time. But since we have the sander in there, that won't work.
and actually, I think we probably need to keep the sander in the
Yeah,
truck for a
yeah, for a
couple,
while.
for a little while, you know.
Don't get in there.
Cause it's not that easy to get it in really, and we'd have to waste the sand, so. And then we talked about removing some of the trees at the, football field again for thinking of the whole camper situation. Make it so that maybe we can make some money there,
Yeah.
or the town can.
Yeah.
What else do we have here? He wants to get a hold of Core and Main on meter repair kits, so that we don't have to buy everything. That I guess there's kits where you can just kind of pick and choose what you need.
Yeah, okay.
And then working on Missouri Avenue still, if the weather will ever.
On the street up here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to do
Yeah, I've
something
been
to
talking
fix
with
that.
Jay about, when it's the street across from Brenda there,
Uh-huh.
between you and Brenda. We're so bad at just going in and cutting that off and getting rid of that asphalt that's pieced in there.
Just
and then
digging it
go-
out?
Digging the asphalt out, yes. And then going in and working that back up and getting a load of, road base. And actually putting a road in there, trying to keep it.
Yeah, the patches just seem to
Oh,
crack.
yeah, it sinks or
Real
something in
fast.
there, the ground is soft and it needs to be packed in there really good and before we put asphalt on it. And get that road straightened out. Anyway, that's something Jay and I have been discussing and talking about, because
Yeah,
that is definitely a problem.
that's one of the worst ones in town.
Well, another thing I don't know how you guys feel about it, but right down here at the tracks,
Yeah,
there used to be the two ditches that were right there. They backfilled and threw a culvert in the one.
uh-huh.
I don't know why we don't do it to that lead side. I mean, you guys seen the stop sign where it got blown down? With the big, like semis that are cutting that corner as tight as they can. It's
Oh,
a matter of time before somebody goes in that ditch with our two parking curbs.
Yep.
They got spikes sticking up. I mean, that's gonna be a
Yeah, I
nightmare.
saw those the other day.
Really?
To me, all it
Little
is like if you guys wanna check on a culvert price, that's what, maybe 20 feet of culvert, we
Yeah.
drop it in there, backfill it, and we're done. And
Yeah.
I mean, we got old fill we can get rid of, and I think,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a matter of time somebody from Billings comes in too hot and shoots into that ditch.
Yeah.
It would be a simple slide out to somebody could possibly get hurt in that. But yeah, if you guys wanna check on culvert price, I mean, it's not even big culvert
Yeah,
either, so.
And
it'd
how
be
long?
nice if the railroad would ever answer back
No,
about anything, even snow removal,
Doesn't
but.
cost them any money if they don't answer the phone.
That's true.
And even that, I don't know why we couldn't do that on our own, we're not affecting their rail, and
That's true.
the water's still doing its job. And
So you're talking the culvert right on on the sides
yeah,
there
just
and
right
filling
here,
it
right
in?
coming towards the train, that ditch, there used to be the two that
Yeah,
were open, they backfilled the one so the rail could drive in and out on their daily driver stuff.
oh, okay.
I don't know why we just don't back, this side's fine over here, cause it seems like a lot of people pull off that, they need to clean it. This side, that's just taking storm water, I mean, it's gonna be evident if it's, I mean, before we do it, you probably wanna jet it if you could, and make sure the line's clear, obviously, but.
I think that's a great
Yeah, I
idea.
think it's a great idea, but I also think, isn't that state highway right in there?
Well,
So,
yeah,
what I'm saying is, no, it doesn't bother me, but I think
Throw the ball at them.
maybe if Tim could get with the state highway department and explain that we're having a problem there and somebody's gonna have a wreck there,
Sure.
they might step in to where it's not.
Well, that ditch is eating out more and more into the road. It's
You're
gonna
right.
become-
Yeah,
it's getting
yeah,